soulmates, it is an absolute pleasure to have you once again on my channel. If this is your first time checking out my channel, please do consider subscribing, because on this channel I'll teach you how to do simple DIY fashion right there in the comfort of your home. Today I'm going to show you how to make a top with exaggerated puff sleeve, and this is made of organza fabric. So to do this project, you're going to need some elastic, you're going to need your pins, you're going to need your scissors, you're also going to need your fabric. This is what I'll be using. And you're going to need a basic bodice pattern. Now, I've shown you a detailed video on how to make a basic bodice pattern. So now this top is gonna be a very free top. So what I did when I made my basic bodice pattern was that I ignored my waist measurement. If you want this top to be a little bit more fitted, all you have to do is include your waist measurement and taper your pattern based on your waist measurement. But this is going to, for me, this is going to be just a free top, and this is the back and the front drafted. So this is the back armhole and this is the front armhole. And what I did, I'm just going to make a free top. This is free. This has a lot of seam allowance in it, because how I'm gonna wear this top is that I'm going to tuck it into a skirt. So you're going to need your basic bodice pattern. If you do not know how to draft a basic bodice pattern, I've made a detailed video on how you could do this. All you have to do is eliminate the darts from the pattern. Now you're also going to need your pattern of your exaggerated puff sleeve. I also made a detailed tutorial on how you could achieve this pattern. So I'm gonna put a link in the description box to, so that you could find that video. So let's get started with this project. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut out the back and the front. So since this fabric, I'm going to use it as the lining also, I'll have to cut 2 pieces for the front and 2 pieces for the back. Okay, soulmates, so because I didn't want any trouble with this fabric, I went ahead and I ironed out the organza, because you want it to be accurate as possible. So what I'm going to do, and I should tell you that this pattern already have seam allowance. This should be unfold, right? Because you're cutting 2 back and 2 front, because you're going to use this same organza to turn to act as a lining. So you need to ensure that it is accurate. So that is why I went ahead and I ironed it down so that I make no mistakes. Also for my neckline, I'm going to use the same neckline for the back and the front, because I do not want, because it's free and there's no zipper or anything, I don't want it to be difficult for me just to put on. So I made the back and the front the same size. So be mindful of that when you're making your top. You don't want it to be too high on the neck so that it cannot go over your head. Okay, so this is what I'm doing now. Pinning it down. You determine how free you want yours, but the amount of allowance that I put in this is fine. So this is the back, cutting out the back. These are my 2 backs. Okay, I'll put this aside. And I'm gonna cut out the front. Remember, the armhole for the front is different from the armhole for the back, so Okay, so this now is for the sleeve. Now listen carefully to me. This sleeve, you have to double your sleeve. I don't have enough fabric to double mine, so I'm gonna just do mine singly, or I'm just gonna do a single sleeve. But if you don't want yours to be too revealing, double your sleeve, double it. But I'm not gonna double mine because I don't have a lot of fabric. And here I want my sleeve to be 24. Okay, so from here to there is 20, so I have to add about 4 more inches to it. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Okay, soulmates, so this is what you're going to have. Okay, this is what you're going to have. So I'm gonna put this aside and let's start to assemble this outfit. So the first thing, this is the front, so the first thing you're going to do is that you're going to finish the neckline. As I said earlier, you are going to use the same fabric to finish the neckline, okay? So what you're going to do, you're going to take it like this, all right? And then you're going to sew your seam allowance that you have left. You're going to do that for the front and also for the back. So mates, so since this is a see-through fabric, what you need to do is cut down the seam allowance very close, okay? Just as how you would do it for your lace or your net, okay? Cut away the seam allowance because this is what you don't want it to be too bulky under the fabric. Okay, do it for the other side too. Okay, so when you've done that, you can go ahead and give it tiny snips like this. Come on, you have to be careful now. You have to be careful, okay? Tiny snips, tiny snips. Be careful not to cut the thread because we're not gonna top stitch this, but you want when you iron it, it stays flat as possible. So don't go ahead and cut your fabric now. Just give it some tiny snips. So when you're done, this is what you're going to have. You're going to iron this, okay? You're going to iron it down. So when you've ironed it, you're now going to take your front. This is the front. The armhole that tells the difference between the front and the back, okay? Okay, I'm just gonna finger press it for now. Okay, and then what you're going to do, you're going to take this one and you're going to match it up at the shoulders now. Match it up at the shoulders like this. Match it really well. If you've ironed this, it will stay flat, okay? Don't mind me not iron mine. Okay, and you're going to fold, you're going to sandwich it inside like this, and then you're going to stitch it down, okay? Okay, soulmate, so this is what you're going to have. It just needs a good press. And what we're going to do now is that we are going to sew the seam allowance at the side, okay? You're going to sew the side. So go ahead and sew the side. Ensure that they match up, okay? You can also, you could have went ahead and sewed the side of each of these, and then you go ahead and sew the other side. It would have been much neater than how I'm doing it, but I have a overlocker, so it's okay if I do it this way. But you can do whatever seems better for you. So I'm just going to sew the sides of this. Okay, soulmate, so this is what you are going to have when you finish the side. What we're going to do now is work on the sleeve aspect of this top before we serge the inside and so forth. Okay, so you're gonna grab your sleeve. Remember, double your sleeve. It's just because I don't have a lot of fabric to double mine, but it would be better when you double the sleeve, okay? Okay. So what you're going to do, you're going to take this to your sewing machine, and you're going to gather this part of it, gather it all the way. You're gonna gather both sleeves. But then at this part, if you notice the style, it has some ruffles here. What you're going to do, I'm going to turn up this here. I'm gonna finish the hem of it. And about 3 inches or so, 2.5 inches from the edge, I'm going to put an elastic from here all the way to the other end. But the length of your elastic is going to be the measurement of your arm, okay? So I want mine to be about this. So this is the amount of elastic you're going to need. And I'm gonna show you how you could do it so as to accommodate this amount of fullness, okay? So I'm going to do that now. So what you're going to do now, on the wrong side of the fabric, you're going to mark out about 2 inches from the edge of the fabric, 2 inches. So I'm gonna do that. From the edge of the fabric, mark out 2 inches or 2.5 inches, or 3 inches would be fine. Okay. Soulmate, so what you're going to do is that you're going to make a casing. You're going to make a casing for the elastic to go through, So what you're going to do, the marking that you've made, so this is my marking, you're going to make a casing for it. This is what I'm gonna do. So this is my casing. The size of your casing depends on the elastic that you're using, okay? Alright, so when you do that, now you're going to fold this under like this. Okay? You're gonna fold it under so that the elastic could pass through it. So I hope you can see what I'm doing. So I went ahead and I stitched it down. Then I'm going to fold this over and stitch it down so that I could have a casing to pass the elastic through. So that's what I'm doing now. So what you're going to do, you're going to take your safety pin and you're going to pass it through that casing that you've made. Okay? So when you have drawn it up, I want you to go ahead and secure it, okay? Secure it before it actually slips out. Secure it. Okay, so this is what you're going to have. Now you're going to turn it over like this. Okay, Summit, so what you're going to do now, so this is the bodice and this is the sleeve. Okay? What you're going to do is that you're going to put the sleeve to the bodice, okay? So ensure that when it's drawn up, when you've gathered it, it fits the armhole, okay? You want to ensure that that is okay. So all you have to do, match up the midpoints, which is here, and check to see if you have the same length on both sides. And then you attach it, okay? So that's what I'm going to do now. So man, look at this, how beautiful it is. Wow. See that? I'm just gonna do the other one. No. Soulmates, so this is the result of the dress that we just did. The only thing that I have left is to give it a good trim as usual. Okay, soulmates, this is the result of the blouse, the top that we've just made. This is the sleeve. This is what it looks like at the end of it. This is what it looks like. So if you find this video helpful, do not forget to give me a giant thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on the post notification bell so you'll be notified each time I make a video. Until we meet again, I will see you in my next one. Bye!